Hey, I'm Tiger Lily, but I'd prefer if you call me Dara. You've come to the right place if you want to see behind the scenes of the life of a DJ, a passionate vegan, and a crazy dog mum. Welcome to my channel. Don't be a stranger. Come say hi. Hey everyone, how you going? Welcome back to my channel. Today we have the amazing Sami Bloom with us, and we are going to go through a heap of vegan nutrition questions. I've asked you all what you would like to know and learn about on my Instagram, and so I hope this is informative. I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump in.
Yeah, Sami specializes in, correct me if I'm wrong,
yes.
This is what I tell everyone. You specialize in like helping people transition from like a normal
omnivorous diet
to a plant-based diet.
Well, I mean, I guess I see a lot of people like that, and I help people reduce their meat intake in a healthy way. But I also see heaps of other different patients for a variety of reasons, but we kind of work toward their goals in a very plant-based way.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you want me to ask you the questions?
Sure.
These are the questions. All right, first one is about hormones. So in particular, female hormones and how to keep them balanced on a vegan diet or just even like with diet in general.
Yeah, so okay, with female hormones, it's very individual. Obviously, I want to know a lot of questions about the individual's cycle, and I guess specific concerns. Really looking at what happens on day 14 and say day 21 of their cycle is important to me because I'm looking at what's going on with ovulation and then PMS type symptoms. But overall, I think a lot of, I guess, vegans can fall into the trap of perhaps not eating a lot of fat. There was a bit of a thing going around, I think, with like a low-fat vegan diet, which might work for men and maybe even some women that just the reproductive system can handle that, but we all have unique kind of levels that we need. So just designing their macronutrient ratio based on those needs and a bit of trial and error. So eating enough healthy fats. Avocados are great, raw nuts and seeds. I don't want them to be like eating a lot of cooked nuts and seeds because you don't want the fat to oxidize. Ground flax seeds and actually grinding them yourself in a coffee grinder is really great. Again, we're looking at not having fats that are oxidized.
What happens when they're oxidized?
They're just the profile changes and they become less beneficial. And less beneficial. They turn into more omega-6s rather than the omega-3s. And omega-6s aren't bad, we need them too. It's just that in this day and age, we're more likely to have a bad ratio between the two, so we're always focused on omega-3. I look at all those whole food sources of fat, and then just obviously eating enough. I mean, a lot of people lose their period when they're not eating enough and over-exercising. Amenorrhea is really common, especially in young women, so that's really important. There's other things that you can do from having lots of antioxidants in the diet to kind of help any inflammation that you might see in things like endometriosis. So high antioxidant foods are basically like plant foods, but particularly berries, goji berries, green tea, dark leafy greens, and colourful vegetables overall. So sweet potato, carrot, red onion, they're kind of some of the things. And stress is humongous with female hormones. We can't underestimate it no matter what diet we're following. So yeah.
I feel like with my period, when I'm stressed or if I do long haul flights, it pushes it out by like a day or two. And my period is clockwork, but when I like go overseas for something, it will always bring it forward or push it back by like 1 or 2 days. Which is crazy because that's just showing how much like that one thing that travel is will have an effect on your cycle.
And it's good that you know that, but imagine, that's one way. Think about all the stress can come from a variety of things, like the stress we put on ourselves, but also stress, like physical stress on the body. Again, over-exercising can be a stress to some people that just might not be able to do that at that point in time. Environmental toxins, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's super common, and 1 or 2 days, I mean, that's not bad. It can really throw people off much longer than that.
Cool. All right, are faux vegan meat alternatives healthy? There's been so much stuff in the media about this lately with people like calling out how unhealthy faux vegan meats are, but I think that there's some other points to
look. I think
talk about.
At the end of the day, it's pretty much apples for apples in terms of nutrient profile. If you're going to have a Big Mac, you're probably not so concerned with your health anyway. So if you're feeling like that kind of thing, you can have this alternative from an ethical perspective, an environmental, moral perspective, whatever your motivation is, and feel like, all right, well, it's not the best thing for my health, but it's in line with my values. And if that's the case, then that's, I think, where those faux meats fit into the diet. From if you're eating them because you think it's really healthy for you, no, it's not a health food, it's a treat food. And I guess there's been some good comparisons on this, and I think basically the concern with it is it does mimic meat in so many ways, even sometimes in like the saturated fat content. It's probably a bit less, I would say, from the ones I've looked at, but it's still up there compared to something like a bean burger. And then the sodium content can be so extremely high, and that's something we need to be cautious of. I will say vegan diets overall tend to be lower in sodium, so perhaps as a treat food, you're better designed for you because you don't actually have as many processed foods, but it's not a health food, and I wouldn't be looking at it as that in any way.
The other night we had the tofurkey chicken breast, which I love, and we probably have it like once every like 2 or 3 weeks in like tacos.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
But I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like,
give
me water. I drank a litre of water throughout the night because I was so thirsty, and that's exactly what it's from. Yeah. And it's delicious and it's a treat, but like it's not an every night thing.
Yeah, and it just as like, they're not designed to be meal replacements. They're not. They're processed foods.
Yeah, totally. Should every vegan take a B12 supplement even if they are not deficient?
Okay, so obviously if you want to keep checking your levels super regularly, you could wait to supplement. At one point you will get deficient just because our soils, we're so clean, we wash all the soil of our produce. Our soils aren't as nutrient dense anymore. However, I would just recommend it's better to maintain than to cure a deficiency. So your levels are great, that's fine. Just have a supplement once a week. The levels in the supplements are so high. I just tell my patients that are B12 adequate and like in an optimal range, not just the reference range, because that can be a bit broad. Just to supplement once a week, or when they pass their spray or whatever it is that they're taking. That's a really good way to do it, just to maintain levels. But overall, it does take a while. B12 takes a while to deplete, so you're in a good position if you're trialing a vegan diet. You're not automatically B12 deficient unless you were already for other reasons. But yeah, there are people who are omnivores that are B12 deficient too. So
I think on that Joe Rogan, Chris Kresser, James Wilkes thing, they ended up deciding from all the research that James had looked at that even a healthy omnivore should be supplementing from prevention perspective as opposed to trying to cure a deficiency.
And I think that's it. It's all about maintenance, and also why we're deficient in these things. It's not straight like cut and dry that it's because you're vegan. It's often to do with stomach acid and digestion problems, which are so common across everybody's different types of diets.
Speaking of digestion problems, food tips for a vegan with IBS struggling to put on weight.
Okay, so IBS is a big one, and there's actually IBS-C, which stands for constipation, and IBS-D, which would stand for diarrhea. So it depends where you sit in the spectrum. It's hard for me to give food tips because they're obviously the opposite to tips.
Yeah.
Overall, I think seeing a qualified nutritionist is important. IBS gets thrown around as a very broad term. So I will say on that, was it they're struggling to put on weight?
Yeah.
So eating enough calories is important. Obviously that's hard because you're uncomfortable. So I guess from that perspective, you need to work out your triggers. You need to maybe eliminate them for say 2 to 6 weeks, and then reintroduce them very slowly. And that's kind of the FODMAP diet. It gets prescribed for IBS, but it's not a forever diet. It's actually cutting out some really healthy foods that can help your gut bacteria down the track. So you want to just cut it out for now, and then reintroduce one at a time so you can work out your tolerability level and hopefully build up your gut flora to be able to tolerate those really healthy foods soon. So when you're struggling to put on weight, it's about eating enough. If you can only eat 7 foods, and I've had people come into my clinic and say, these are the 7 foods I don't react to. I'm like, great, eat them, and these are the quantities for your energy needs. You probably have to dial back the exercise and that kind of thing, so we're really dealing with inflammation, and there's no need to really inflame the body in other ways. So yeah, eat the 7 foods that make you feel good. Hopefully it's more than that, but you need to make sure you're getting enough nutrition from those foods, and then maybe you can work on some gut repairing tips with a practitioner, reintroduce some other foods, and focus on that inflammation, making sure it stays low.
I think seeing a practitioner, because the gut is so complicated.
The gut's really complicated, and like putting in probiotics and stuff won't do the trick, and killing things won't do the trick because it's not specific always. So it's really hard. A functional medicine test would probably be the best way to go about that too, because we learn so much from like urine and stool samples. That's a really good way to deal with it.
Yeah. Apart from B12, are there any other supplements that are recommended on a vegan diet?
I'm a big fan of blood testing to specifically work out what you need. I don't think everybody needs iron. I've seen a lot of omnivores that need iron and a lot of vegans that don't. So it comes down to so much more. So a proper blood test is good. I like the idea of an an omega-3 supplement. So an algae oil-based supplement is really good. I think that's a great supplement. Vitamin D in the general population is below optimal range, but you might not need to supplement. It might just be about being conscious about getting outside for a few minutes a day. And potentially iron, especially I guess in pregnancy, that might be the one area that I would be more confident saying most people need iron, most women.
Yeah, and I think getting the test so you're not over supplementing as well is really important.
Because you also can't supplement forever. Like that's not something I would want anybody to be on forever. It's a B12 supplement. Because it's not a maintenance thing. It's hopefully going to cure the deficiency. Then you're working on your absorption, or you're working out what food sources that you were lacking, and you can build it up in that way.
Totally.
So there are common deficiencies like vitamin D, iron, B12,
zinc.
Zinc, not always. But yeah, they're the ones people, and omega-3, and they're the ones that jump out. You don't have to supplement. I would check your levels.
Oh my god. Okay, so we've let our dogs in because they were outside and it's like a 40-degree really smoky day. So if there's dogs barking in this video
or little tails entering the screen,
I feel like that's kind of cute. Lenny, can we just be quiet? Shh. They're having a love fest down there. Okay, great ways to get iron on a plant-based diet.
So again, I think you can get it from food and working on your digestive system. If you're eating, a lot of dark leafy greens, if you're including things like vitamin C in the diet, which you're naturally getting if you're eating a lot of healthy plant-based foods, that helps the absorption of iron. And then making sure that you're not drinking tea or coffee around your food intake, because that will kind of inhibit the absorption, the tannins in those drinks. Squeeze of lemon for extra vitamin C is always good. And then I have a recipe for some iron-rich bliss balls on my website, which is kind of like a food-based supplement if you have 2 of them a day. I can't remember the percentage of your intake. But yeah, there's a lot of food sources that are high in iron that aren't heme iron, which come from animal-based products.
I think 2 things that I started eating lots of when I was iron deficient was pumpkin seeds and
molasses,
apricots.
Oh yeah, so that's in my bliss balls. But molasses, blackstrap molasses. So sometimes if people have lemon water every morning or something like that, I tell them to stir through it 2 to 3 teaspoons of blackstrap molasses as part of their thing, and that's like a double whammy because it's lemon, vitamin C, and blackstrap for the iron. But I would really be wanting to know if you're doing all those things and you're still iron deficient, I'm looking at what's going on with your digestion or maybe your period if you're a woman. And also just a word on iron deficiency, we were chatting about it before, but I do really get frustrated when I only get people's ferritin levels, which is your stored iron. You need a full iron panel. So you want full iron studies. You want to see the serum iron, which is your total iron. You want to see transferrin saturation. Because there are other reasons for iron deficiency and like internal bleeding or something like that. Like just throw that one out there. But isn't there other reasons? And also, one might be so low and the other one's high, and that's not a normal picture. So you want to get the full picture so that you're not just ad hoc supplementing mindlessly. And Lenny agrees.
You do, don't you? Let's do top 5 tips for transitioning into a vegan lifestyle.
Okay, eat enough calories. Don't just cut out animal sources of protein. Do add in higher plant-based sources of protein. So if you used to have a chicken salad or chicken sandwich every day, have a bean salad, or add like hummus to your sandwich. That's a really basic tip, but I think I see a lot of that being the case. Consistency and patience. Don't give up after 2 weeks. You're probably not eating enough or the right foods. It doesn't mean that every vegan is tired and fatigued and protein deficient. It just might mean that your diet needs tweaking. Healthy fats. Don't cut out all fat. Animal protein actually is almost the same amount of fat as protein sometimes in some animal products. So if you're naturally getting a lower fat diet, that could also be contributing to some kind of your symptoms. So have avocados, raw nuts and seeds, ground flax seeds, that kind of thing. And that was 4. Eat the rainbow, colourful variety of foods. And on that, don't fear carbs, because carbs will now be the mainstay of your diet, as they should be. So things like sweet potatoes, quinoa, brown rice, they should be in a lot of your meals.
Yeah, people are so scared of carbs. It's totally bizarre. Excuse me, puppies. Lenny, Nani, sit down. Sit.
Nani, sit.
Lenny, sit. Sit. Nani, sit down. Will she sit?
If I hold my hands up for her, but she's not.
Stay.
Okay, cool. Sorry guys. I put on a lot of weight since being vegan. What is the best way to lose weight being vegan?
I'll answer that quickly because I think we're short on time.
Yeah, we are.
Complicated, check your hormones, check your stress levels, and then if it is because, maybe you were on a low carb diet, now you're on a higher carb diet, I see that. Again, consistency, you gotta balance it out. But if it comes down to it, maybe you need to balance your macronutrient ratio so that you're not having both high fat and high carb at the same time. You need to balance that, what works for your unique body, because something's gonna give and you can't just have a lot of everything all of the time.
Yeah, totally. Pregnancy and veganism.
And eating enough calories is important. Taking prenatal is really important. Folate is the nutrient we're always looking for. Not just being vegan on this, everyone really should be checking if they're digesting folate properly, like as opposed to folic acid versus folate, and that's a bit complicated, so I'll just leave that there, but maybe talk to your doctor about that. Eating enough healthy, is this when they're already pregnant, I guess?
I don't know, the question isn't...
So basically eating for your trimester as your caloric needs increase, you have to match that. The first trimester isn't such a big deal, but I'd say going forward, and if some women just have smaller appetites or things are making them nauseous, Brazil nuts are really healthy food for hormones as well, and I think they're quite calorie dense, so if you don't feel like a big meal, just having a handful of them a day might help you reach your caloric need.
True.
And just looking for those foods that don't make you nauseous, and potentially big salads aren't what you're feeling like. But, you can still have bean burgers, you can still have handfuls of nuts, bliss balls, maybe some smoothies and throwing less greens in, but just whatever you can, a powder. It's going to be what you feel like, but at the end of the day, like smaller quantities of nutrient-dense foods.
I think there seems to be a misconception that you need to eat for two when you're pregnant.
No, and it changes it all the time with the trimester, but
I heard it's only like 2 pieces of toast more, or like a banana more, or I kind of always thought you'd have to eat heaps more, but it's actually, from what I've heard, not that much more.
I mean, women do it and they don't eat a lot more because they're so nauseous for such a long time. So I think it's about being in touch with your intuition, but definitely eating enough is important. And you'll be super fatigued or deficient. Like the other thing with pregnancy is making sure your iron's okay. So eating all those iron-rich foods and following those iron tips. Maybe taking a supplement. Your prenatal you should take throughout your pregnancy. And avoiding those foods that you can't eat as well, obviously like sprouts and things like that, which are so good for us, but just you can't have.
You couldn't eat them.
Yeah, because of like listeria and potential for bacteria.
Shitters. I love sprouts.
I know. No,
devastating.
When the time comes.
Not for a while. Is too much soy bad for you?
I don't think so, but you've got to define too much. The studies that I've read of any ill effects, and this is done in Asia, have been like, I don't want to misquote, maybe 9 servings or more a day, like something ginormous. And it just, like no one's eating that here in the Western world. So, if you're having like organic soy, non-GMO soy, I think that's a great meat alternative. And the hormone effects it's incomparable compared to the hormones found in dairy that come from a huge animal. So compared to plant hormones, it's just like we're never concerned about the hormones in food until it's soy. Yeah. It's just a change of perception that you need. So no, I think it's a great source of protein. It's a great transition food as well. A lot of people like it. You can make it, jazz it up, make it taste nice. And I'm not overly concerned. Maybe if you have some thyroid issues, it's just about upping your iodine intake. Again, checking levels, working with a practitioner if that's a specific concern for you.
Awesome. Yeah, it's crazy how guys will eat dairy till the cows come home, literally.
Yeah.
But then they are afraid to have tofu. And I'm like,
phytoestrogens versus estrogen from a pregnant cow. Let me think about that.
Oh my god. Anyway, is there a best type of protein?
I don't really think so. I think just eating plant foods that your body knows how to digest is probably the best way. And again, checking that you're absorbing everything. So making sure your gut is in check.
The gut is so important. All right, autoimmune illnesses with B12 deficiencies. Can we speak to that? Was that the question?
And a legume allergy.
Oh, and a legume allergy. I thought that was a start.
I guess
any remedy.
Well, the legume allergy, it's an allergy. So no, I'm not touching that. Don't have legumes. But you need to look for alternative sources of protein, things like plant protein powders, quinoa and other grains. All plant foods have some degree of protein in it. Eating enough, you'll probably meet your protein requirements. So if you can't have legumes, you can get it that way. And then obviously raw nuts and seeds. B12 deficiencies, it's interesting because autoimmunity is where the body's somewhat attacking itself. So I want to be checking for any inflammation or any gut distress, which might be inhibiting your absorption of B12, and then also checking your active B12, just as opposed to just your B12 on your blood test. And if there is a deficiency and you're supplementing or something like that, you want to check methylation. So that's a bit of a hot topic at the moment, but basically whether you can convert the B12 properly, and you need to get a blood test for that. There might be a genetic SNP or something like that.
So the moral of the story is work with a practitioner and get regular blood tests so you can see what's going on.
Yeah, I think everyone should be doing it more regularly than they are, at least annually, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Cool!
That answered a lot of your questions.
Yeah, we got through lots. If you guys have any other questions, where can people find you?
SAMI, Sami Bloom, BLOOM. That's my Instagram handle. It's also my website, so samibloom.com. And you can always email me at samibloom.com. You can always email me some questions, and if there's anything that I can help you with off the cuff, I will. And if it needs to be gone into more depth, then just shoot me an email and we'll book it in a consult.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you. Bye.